did what I do.
That's a really good way to describe it. It was. All the way to my I'm gonna go find it. Robert's pulling the gym voice.
Likes to create anticipation. You know what I think is so funny? Is people get as far back as they can. I mean, I'm surprised there are people outside here.
Yeah, I just mic'd him up. What's up, you
It comes in beside you.
All right.
Are we at 9? Oh, we are 9 o'clock. Hey, we're ready? Okay, I guess Jim is not here, so I am in the right place. You're in the right place. That doesn't look like me, but pretty close. So my name is Robert Freeman, so welcome and good morning. I'm the Vice President of Sales and Customer Experience here at Defenders. And we have a full agenda today, including finance and WIG updates, the latest improvements to customer experience, some culture updates, a 20-year anniversary update, and as always, we like to finish up with Q&A with the vet. So with that, I'd like to start by having our Vice President of Finance, Chris Chris.
Thank you, Robert. So let's start off by celebrating some good momentum that we have going in 2018. So I'm going to go around the wheel and just talk about some records that we have set so far in our first couple of months here at Defenders. So let's start with marketing. So marketing had their highest weekly inquiry volume. For most of us, we know those as leads. That was the week of 227. 12,000 inquiries, so they're bringing the game to us, and you guys are probably feeling that. So hats off to marketing. Sales had their volume is up year over year 7.3%, and their close rates are about 0.6% higher than our record-setting rates of 2017. So good job for that. And the field team, I'm gonna mention 3 things for the field team. So through our protection, they posted a record month in January of $661. And again, in February, we had our 3rd highest ever month at $632. Second record in the field is e-contract rate. So we have a goal to be a paperless company and have 100% e-contract rate. And several times in recent weeks, we have hit the 98% mark. So we're bringing it. We're getting it closer and closer to the 100%. So let's keep moving that number. And then last, I just want to talk about install volume. So we're getting the lead volume. We're getting the sales volume. Install volume has been hitting visionary in many of the weeks, recent weeks. And capacity, really good. In January, we had 73.4% capacity in the field. That's because we have a record number of SAs. In the history of Defenders, we have over 1,450 SAs, which is helping with our capacity. Recent weeks are down a little, but that's because we're getting volume, so we need to keep bringing in more hires, but set a record. I want to move on to talk about the WIG. So who can remind me what our WIG is?
Install rate. 2-week install rate from 66.3 to 70%.
Right, so we want to move the install rate from 66% to 70% by 6/30. So we're making some progress on the WIG. So far, we've had 5 of the 8 closed weeks at above 68%. So we want to go from 66 to 70. Halfway there, some of the weeks, we've had 3 weeks over 69%, but we haven't hit the 70% yet. So we have till June 30th, but keep focusing on your WIG. In the field, it's very important that we staff our branches up to 70% or greater. When I looked this morning, I think we have only 3 regions that are there. So we have 10 that need to get there. So let's keep working on that. And then around the business, whatever you can do to help with install rate, keep working your WIG commitments and thinking and digging deep on what you can do to contribute to the WIG. So with that, I want to talk a little bit about what we're seeing so far as a business in 2018, an early read. So I talked about some records, and momentum is really good at Defenders. We're setting some records, but our profits aren't showing up so much the same. So to be honest, we're a little bit behind. We're behind a little bit on install volume, slightly. First half, we're down about 400, just about 50 installs from primary. And then profits were down a little bit. So what can we do to help close that gap, and why are we there? The biggest one is really install rate. So we need to convert on the leads that we're getting to keep our marketing costs down to the levels that we expected. So it is essential that everybody think about the one thing you can do to help close our gap is focus on conversion rate, and in particular on install rate. Eliminate any non-essentials that you're doing. We talk about stop doing lists a lot. Make a stop doing list. Make sure you're focused on the most important things. And then focus on your individual KPIs, every area, marketing, sales, field, around the wheel. You have KPIs. Focus on making sure yours are at primary or greater. So lastly, that comes back to our profit goal. We always give an update on the profit goal. So last month, if you remember, we were at 102% on our profit goal. And in the months of this, remember the profit goal runs from October of last year till October of this year. So in October, November, December, and January, we were above 100% mark. February dropped below to around 83%. So cumulatively right now we're at 99% of our goal. So we're slightly behind the 100% mark, and we are competitive winners. So we like to be above 100%. I'm going to leave you with one question, and hopefully you've caught it by now. What is the one thing you can do to help us move that 99% up and above 100%? One thing that you can focus on. WIG. So yeah, let's keep focusing on the WIG and getting to the 70% by June 30th, if not before, to bring the profit back up above 100%.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris.
So last month, if you remember, we talked a lot about creating momentum, and we just didn't have the momentum that we needed back in January. And now that we're in March, we're starting to feel the momentum. The top of the funnel is getting a lot of leads coming in. Sales is closing, field is putting them in. But we got to keep that momentum going. And as Chris mentioned about the WIG being very, very important to each and every one of you, it's really about execution. So, we have a lot of activities that we do, and we say, hey, we got this WIG, we got to hit it. But at the end of the day, we have to execute on the things needed in order for us to be successful. So with that, next I'd like to invite Adam Kaminsky to come on up. He's our Director of Customer Experience. He wants to share some very exciting developments in customer experience. Adam.
Thank you, Robert. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
It's a beautiful, crisp Tuesday morning. Let's have some fun when we do this segment of Defenders Live. I'm going to talk about 3 main points from customer experience here at Defenders. Those points are our call flow process, our first call resolution, and systems and data within customer experience. So as I wrap up those 3 different segments, I'll say sounds good, and all of you will yell sold for cash. Sound good?
Sold for cash.
Perfect. All right, so let's get started. Let's talk about the call flow process first and foremost. So our call flow process is something that we just rolled out here in the Customer Experience Center, and this is a big win for us. It really shows us that systems are the solution. We borrowed the idea of having a process, believe it or not, from sales, from field, from marketing, all around the place. And we really wanted to codify what does it take to look successful on phone calls. So our training department partnered with CallMiner, partnered with some of our top agents and managers, and And we really honed in on this 4-step process that we now lead every customer through. So thank you to all the teams and departments that helped us achieve that milestone. It's a very big win for us. We do now have all of our customer experience agents trained on that, and they're operating on that. And this also gives us a single playbook for all of our managers to coach from. So this, again, I can't say it enough, and I've used these words with the team, that this is a monumental occasion for our customer experience within that building, and then also for our customers and for our team members. Sound good?
Okay.
Perfect. All right, let's talk about first call resolution. First call resolution is the metric. It is the metric. It is our close rate. It is our install rate, if you will, in the Customer Experience Center. And first call resolution is the percentage of customers that do not have to call back in again in 7 days. We want to make sure that when a customer calls us, we serve their need, and we do it in a way in which they do not have to call back in again. Would you agree that's good customer service? So we're really, really focused on that, and we're shoving all of our chips to the center on that. And again, that is our close rate. That is our install rate. This is a hugely important number to customer experience. Not only is this important to our customers, but it's also important to every person in this room and every person watching right now. Why would you say that this metric in particular is important to even us in this room today? Any ideas on why this number would be important? First call resolution? Think of even our thematic goal. When we want to maximize value for our team members. First and foremost, with what Chris just talked about, why this is hugely important is because the higher our first call resolution is, the fewer resources we need, the fewer incentives we need to give, and so on. So it helps us manage our costs within the Customer Experience Center. So it maximizes our value as team members by helping with profit. Did I do a good job, Chris? Okay, good. She's not along.
Sold cash.
Sold for cash. The other reason that this is important is because not only do we maximize our value for our customers, for our team members, but we want to maximize our value for our customers. And that goes without saying. The less effort that a customer has to put in working with the vendors, the better experience they have, which in turn maximizes value for our partner ADT, because it also helps us with what our brand recognition is out in the marketplace with so many competitors right now. So this number is hugely important. We're absolutely focused in on it. Our WIG, speaking of WIGs, we talked about that a minute ago, is to improve our first call resolution from 37% to 39% by June 30th. And visionary, I'll add, is 40%. We are currently at 38% on our first call resolution. So we've made moves ahead, and we're nudging that number along, and we expect to accomplish our WIG at primary, if not visionary, by June. So we're excited for that. Sound good? Perfect. This is working out beautifully. All right, and then last, we'll talk about systems and data. And this is something that's so hugely important, again, for our customer experience. And know that when I talk about customer experience, I'm not just talking about that building down the street. I'm not just talking about that team, but I really am talking about the experience that our customers have from marketing to sales to install and beyond, and how important that is that we focus on that as an organization. You know, I can tell you first and foremost that there has been a lot of hard work through the CXT that was created several months ago. In particular, Ryan Threlkeld and Scott Lavengood, from a systems perspective, have been helping us find new ways to help customers, even systematically, before we talk to them. We know more about our customers than ever before, why they're calling, even in some cases through the work of the systems that we have in place, and it's so hugely important. We also have CRM, which is a big implementation for our customer experience. Sales and field will be utilizing this as well, but this really helps us capture data in a real way that presents it in an actionable way, which is so important. What good is data without taking action on it? Anybody, obviously, that would work in the organization would tell you that we want to be able to take action on these things. Some of the actionable data that CRM gives us, for example, would be first call resolution. We have a high capture rate of the customers that are calling us, so we can get really clear on what our first call resolution is. Something else that is hugely important is our calls per install. How many calls do we take on average per install that we're installing throughout the course of the year? In other ways that we can look at data as well. With this, we're utilizing CRM not only to identify how many people are calling us, but why people are calling us. And this is the treasure that we'll be working on throughout the course of 2018, is why customers are calling us, and even more particularly, why customers are choosing to cancel, working with our loyalty team and our retention teams. Knowing that information, why do customers cancel at Defenders, can help us achieve our WIG through the year. It can help us achieve our profitability throughout the course of the year and get really granular on what it takes to be successful. So very important that we look at those types of things. Sound good?
Sold for cash.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Freeman.
All right, so thanks, Adam. As you can tell through Adam's enthusiasm, that it's a very exciting time to be part of the customer experience team. And the whole sold for cash thing, it's interesting that you worked that into today. I wasn't expecting that, but you know, when you say it, it has a certain kind of an energy lift to it, right? And when you're like sold for cash, and people think of whatever that might conjure up. But we actually say that a lot in our sales leadership meetings. So when we want to make a decision or we want to move something along, someone will shout out sold for cash, and then we can just keep on moving. So I wanted to give you a little background on that story. So, all right, so next I want to bring up Scott Krill, who is the Director of Culture, and he's going to talk about the things that he's doing to help strengthen the Defender culture in all areas of our business. Scott?
Robert, appreciate it. How's everybody doing? Good. Really? After Adam just got up here and got you all excited, that was the best you could do. And let me just say first, I feel that it was unfair that I have to follow Robert or Adam in that jacket that he has on, which is just a fashion plate over there. So, and did everybody see Adam's video for the 20th anniversary celebration? That's awesome. Really good. Really good. I wanted to come up and share some of the things that I've been focused on from a culture perspective, just to kind of let you know that I'm not just sitting in that office and taking up space. When I started back at the end of 2017, I sat down with Joey Riley and Carolyn Manco, and we really wanted to be intentional about how engagement and culture and communications moved through 2018. So we sat down and we came up with some defining objectives for ourselves for 2018. Wanted to share those with you and then talk about some of the tactical things that are getting put in place to help us reach those defining objectives. So we came up with 3 defining objectives. Again, keeping in mind that thematic goal of maximizing values, team members, for our customers, and for ADT. Our focus for 2018 is going to be to enhance team member experience, to increase team member participation and engagement, and finally to expand team member recognition. So you can see a lot of those are focused on team member, right? So maximizing value for team members, but we know when we do that, that also maximizes value for our customers because we become the best version of ourselves, right? And that comes through for our customers. And then finally for ADT, because that helps us drive the business. So what are we going to do tactically to achieve some of those defining objectives? Well, for the first one, enhancing team member experience, my initial focus for 2018 is really on the field. We'll expand that focus and we'll focus on sales and customer experience and home office. We wanted to start focusing on the field. We're really blessed, especially here at home office, to have access to many of these cultural things that we do, especially from a service perspective. And the field, you think about it geographically, the further out they get, the less and less exposure they have to this great culture that we see on a day-to-day basis. So I've been working with the regional directors for field, and we're trying to come up with some really, we think, good ideas. They're going to help package the culture for the field, make it available to them on a regular basis. And we're even looking at doing some tests a little later in Q2 that we hope will also expand culture for the field. So that's where the focus is currently from a team member experience standpoint. For our second defining objective, increasing team member participation and engagement, a lot of things going on here. First, we're going to relaunch Lunch and Learns. For those that have been here for a while, do you remember we used to do Lunch and Learns on a fairly regular basis? Our first one is actually going to be next week on March 22nd, and we'll get some information out on this. But what we're going to do with these Lunch and Learns, we're going to make available information on either different culture partners that we have, different cultural tools that we have that you come in and you can learn more about. So the first one on March 22nd, we're going to have Habitat for Humanity come in, talk about ways that you can serve with Habitat for Humanity. Of course, the panel build's coming up pretty soon, and I think most of the slots are already filled. Joey, is that right? Does that sound right? Pretty darn close. So we got the panel build coming up at the beginning of April, but there's many more ways that you can serve with Habitat for Humanity. So they'll be here on March 22nd. I would love for you to come out to lunch and learn more about that. And then in April, we're also going to have Marketplace chaplains come in. They're going to talk about blended families. So if you're part of a blended family, great opportunity to sit down, come in, hear a little bit about that, okay? So that's coming up in April. Again, we'll get more information out on that. Next, working with our cultural partners to maximize our value with them. You know, we have many cultural partners, from Marketplace chaplains to Pete the Planner to Right Now Media, and on and on and on. We've had these folks for quite a while. We want to make sure we're getting the most out of what they can bring to the table. So for instance, Marketplace chaplains, starting the week of March 26th, we're going to have set scheduled hours that they're going to be available in the prayer rooms. So here at headquarters, in the call center, in CEC, you'll be able to know when the chaplains will be available, and you can go in and visit with them if that is something that you would like to do. Working with Pete the Planner. At convention, you're going to hear a really cool announcement from Pete the Planner and a great new offering that he has, and on and on and on. So we're working to really maximize what we can get with our cultural partners. Next, working with Joey Riley, and we're really working to revitalize the Giving Council, something that we've had for a long time here at Defenders, but we've kind of redefined our purpose. We're being very intentional about what we're trying to do, and we now have a scorecard that we're going to start to look at to make sure that we're actually driving culture and giving within Defenders. Does anybody read Defenders 360? Yeah, you better say yes, because Carolyn's sitting right there. And you're going to hurt her feelings if you say no. Defenders 360. We launched last week a new culture spotlight on culture article. So every month, every week of the month, we will have a culture highlight within Defenders 360, and we'll highlight everything from one of our culture partners to one of our culture tools to highlighting either an individual or a department or a branch that's really living our culture. We'll also focus on our passions and our core values. So we highly encourage you to check that out, because there's going to be a lot of really good stuff there. And then finally, Super Service Challenge. So about 3 weeks ago, we recognized the 2017 Super Service Challenge videos that came in. We served over 40 organizations, and we had over 80 videos that were submitted for 2017 for Super Service Challenge. And we gave away almost $160,000 about 3 weeks ago to those 40 plus charities that we served, which is awesome. And that was all of you that did that. So for 2018, to keep that momentum going, and there's been some communication about this already, but I want to kind of promote it again. We're going to do quarterly awards. So if you're serving every quarter, we're going to give away up to $10,000 to the organizations that you serve. So if you've not submitted a video yet for Q1, you still got a couple of weeks to get that done, and highly encourage you to do that. I know Josh Hallmark just submitted one the other day. So there's $10,000 on the table for Q1 that we really want to give away to some organizations. So please get those submitted. And the ways that you can do that, I think, Carolyn, you sent out a communication. There'll be another one coming out this week, right after this meeting, to know how to upload that. Because right now, the National Super Service Challenge website is dark as they get ready to launch a new platform. But we still have a way that you can submit those. So look for that. So finally, our third defining objective, expanding team member recognition. Obviously, I talked about already that spotlight on culture and Defenders 360. We're looking for stories. We want to hear from you. Who are people? What are departments, or what are branches that are living our culture? Because we want to tell those stories. So we're going to have a great one coming out here at the end of March from one of our branches that we're really excited about. But we want to know about those things. So please share those with me or Carolyn or Joey, so we can make sure we get those included as well. And then finally, the last item, the 20th anniversary celebration, right? I know we got over 80 submissions for Systems of the Solution. Right now, you can submit for Humble Servants. So highly encourage you to do that. And I'm going to turn it back over to Robert.
All right, awesome job, Scott. All right, so we're a little bit behind here. I'm going to try and catch us up. As Scott mentioned, we've had 81 submissions on the Systems Are the Solution. The anniversary committee is going to take a look at those this week, and then they're going to send those off to the BIT, and we'll be making a final selection. That announcement will be made by the end of March, and that winner will have that opportunity to select prizes, including cash up to $20,000. So that's pretty darn cool. We're accepting nominations for the next passion, the humble servant. We'd love to see the nominations go into the hundreds because we know there are a lot of humble servants around this organization. Nominations will close on April the 7th, so make sure you get those in. And then finally, we want to do one more endorsement on a new communication channel, the Defenders text messaging. Who's doing this today? Did anyone sign up? Oh, most of you have, so that's fantastic. So I guess I can just text you the notice on that then. No, if you are working in indie sales and you haven't done this yet, just go to your messages, open up a message, go new, and in the to section, just make sure you type in 77453, and then in the actual text, send defend to, so DEFEND 2. If you're in Newport, the exact same instructions except defend 6. If you're on Cherie Hill's team, which means you've arrived because you have your own text during it, evidently, it's defend 4. And then Robbie's team is defend 5. And then lastly, if you're in headquarters, it's defend 1. So it's just that easy. You're going to get a message back right away, and it's going to ask you, please submit your full name. But then after that, you'll be ready to get some text. We're not going to bombard you with a bunch of stuff, but we want to test it out and send out different communication pieces. So at this point, we would normally move on to big Q&A. We'll go ahead and do that, but we just have a few minutes for questions today. So I invite the bit that's here to come on up, and we'll go through that. All right, who has the first question? We're in lightning round today. Somebody.
Crickets.
Where's Sean? He's got to have a question.
Like Torrey Smith in the Super Bowl. Question on the profitability. Christina mentioned some of the miss or all of the miss is front end and catching up on that install rate and getting out all that good marketing stuff in the ground. Is any of that on the back end from the stickiness of the customers going in as far as cancel rate and buyback?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, Jim. So yes, we got to keep the customers that we get as well. So we got to watch out for 30-day cancel. And that has ticked up a little bit since we closed last year. So that is another focus point, as well as really expenses around the company is another big one. So you need to always watch those. Next question. We can call on somebody.
Amy.
Any new developments with ADT from a product or process perspective?
I'm not answering that.
So we actually just had our QBR, quarterly business review with ADT a couple of weeks ago. Went very well. We had really 3 key priorities coming out of that, 2 of which are marketing related, some exciting opportunities for us to expand our marketing presence with ADT. Also a sales opportunity. So went back and rehashed that we've agreed to pursue in the rest of the year. From a product standpoint, however, we continue to work with Honeywell. Again, everyone remember, please, this is confidential, but we have come to an agreement in principle with Honeywell, and we hope to have the contract signed this week. So we're working really hard to get that done, but it's exciting news. Once we get the contract signed, we'll start working on the integration with Honeywell and with Alarm.com to be prepared for a test at the beginning of the 3rd quarter.
Of course, we have time for one more question.
Chris, over here, Chris.
Yeah, is that the other?
do have one over here. Someone else have a question for Chris Legore, sold for cash?
Rich Cherry, will you tell us when we're going to start our remodel?
No, since the last time we spoke.
And we're out of time.
No, just real quick. So remember last time we spoke, we'd submitted out for contractor bids. We've gotten those in. And so we're just doing some fine tuning of the costs and putting a few of the finishing touches on the plan. So that's pretty much finalized. Really what we're working through now is just the cadence of how we would go about the remodel. So the section that we would attack first, second, third, and how we would adjust and relocate the people that are sitting in those different areas and getting all that smoothed out. And we'll be doing that over the course of this month. And so right now we've set, if everything goes to plan, an early April start date. So stay tuned.
All right, with that said, I'll leave you guys with execute on your wigs. Thank you.